Oak City Move is a podcast on WKNC's 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh where we highlight people and organizations creating positive change in society and beyond. Oak City Move can be heard on air every other Monday on 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh or online at wknc.org/listen. For episodes and more information, go to our blog at blog.wknc.org and follow us on SoundCloud at WKNC Radio. Hello, WKNC 88.1 Raleigh. The song you just heard is Sweaty Linen by Surf Ninja 3. I'm Sophia Magnanini, your host, and you're listening to Oak City Move. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Jenn McEwen, who is part of the incredible Wake on Stage. So first off, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. And if you wanted to start off for listeners who may not be familiar, talk a little bit about what Wake on Stage is.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So Wake on Stage is a new fundraising event that we have launched to support United Arts Wake County. United Arts is the designated local arts agency serving all 12 municipalities in Wake County. We do that through grant making to nonprofit organizations, local artists, and the smaller municipalities in the county, as well as supporting arts education programs in Wake County Public Schools. So our Artists in Schools program is a partnership with each individual PTA at the schools where we support professional artists coming into the schools for performances, workshops, residencies, creative writing, visual arts, performing arts, the whole gauntlet. And we are raising money to support these education programs. In addition to our arts education, artists in schools program, we also run a spoken word competition for high school students and an internship program for college students who are interested in pursuing leadership roles in arts administration. So all three of those arts education pieces is what this event is raising money for. At Wake on Stage, we've invited local leaders, elected officials, media personalities, business leaders to all take the stage in a talent show type event, showing off their artistic talents and mediums, and really demonstrating how the arts impact every single sector across our community. So whether you are a lawyer or a teacher or a business owner, you most likely had an arts experience growing up. And we really believe that creativity is the root of all problem
That's
solving.
awesome. Yeah, I completely agree with creativity because you guys are just doing such an amazing job at helping kind of make the creativity in these kids flourish as well as try and like prolong it because like you were saying, like a lot of times kids are really like into the arts and stuff, but then it's like they can't really continue on throughout that. But it's something that like if you're really, really passionate about it, it's something that you should choose to do and want to be able to do. And so it's so fun that you guys are kind of giving them this chance to highlight all of their progress and everything that they've been doing.
Yeah, we really love creating arts experiences for young people. And, there's all sorts of studies out there that kids who are involved in the arts have better test scores. Kids that are involved in the arts have lower rates of absenteeism at school and lower dropout rates. So really, we know that the arts are a community anchor. We know that they are an economic
Mm.
catalyst. I mean, the economic impact of the nonprofit arts sector in Wake County is $546 million annually. I mean, that's a really big return on
Mhm.
investment, given what it takes to go into running an arts organization and um, the contributed revenue in addition to the earned revenue that it takes to grow the arts sector.
That's awesome. How long ago did Wake on Stage start? Like, what was the original vision behind it, and how have you kind of seen it evolve throughout the years?
This is actually the first year that we're doing this. So United Arts had some other fundraisers in the past. We had one event called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, where you would go to someone's house for a fancy catered dinner, and there would be an artist as a surprise guest that you would get to spend time with. During the pandemic, we partnered with WRAL and Capital Broadcasting to do a televised fundraiser for the arts that supported Wake, Chatham, Orange, and Durham counties. And but so now that we're trying out this new thing, where, like I said, we're inviting local leaders, local influencers, to show off their hidden or maybe not so hidden talent. So we've got singers, we've got jazz musicians, we have dancers, we have a magician taking the stage. We've got all sorts of, oh, we've got spoken word, all sorts of monologues, all sorts of performing arts.
That's awesome. And it kind of sounds like what you were saying earlier. You're kind of putting all the things together for the Wake on Stage of all the different events that you guys do, which is really, really cool. And I only can imagine how fun that's going to be to see live and in person. All the different people, all the different acts. It's just going to be so cool.
Yeah, and it's like a really fun twist, right? You see people
Yeah.
that you're used to seeing at a city council meeting or on your television broadcasting the weather. And then all of a sudden we see that, the arts had a really big role in getting them where they are today, even if it's not as a professional artist. There's still some joy that's sparked. There's still skills that are created. So getting to show them off and show how really the arts influence absolutely everything we do in our lives, is fun and exciting. We had our dress rehearsal last night, and every single person who showed up really was bringing such an incredibly positive and heightened level of energy, that I'm really excited for the final show.
That's so awesome to hear. And yeah, it's so important for people to see that, like, even though you may not choose a career that is like focused in the arts, but you can still be a part of the arts and that passion doesn't have to go away. So that's really, really cool. How does Wake on Stage support local talent here in Raleigh? I know you guys talk a lot about the students. Are there a lot of other kind of organizations that kind of help you guys or add a little something to it?
Yeah, we've got some great partners. One of our performances is featuring the Broughton High School Jazz Ensemble with one of our state representatives from the legislature, Representative Mike Sheetselt. We've got um, all sorts of community partners, corporate sponsors that are coming to the table to really support getting this initiative off the ground. As far as in the community goes, we do grant making to local nonprofit arts organizations across Wake County. We also help support public art initiatives at the municipalities outside Raleigh and Cary, where they might need a little more expertise and support getting some programs off the ground. And we do grant making to local artists in Wake County, Harnett, Chatham, Johnston, and Lee counties.
So that kind of leads into my next question. Since you guys have so many different artists and so many different talents on stage, what role do you think performing arts plays in strengthening the local community?
That's a great question. We know that the arts are a spark for community connection and combating isolation and creating um, heightened levels of well-being. We also know that people who have experienced and participate in the arts tend to be more engaged civically. They tend to vote more. And then again, we have a huge economic impact. So every time you see a concert going on at a public park, those folks that are there are spending money usually at local restaurants and local businesses on gas and parking.
Mhm.
So it really has a ripple effect throughout all layers of our community.
Oh, that's really important. That's so true because yeah, once you bring just get any group of people together, the nearing areas will also benefit from it. It's not just a singular thing. So that's going to be really, really cool. For since this is the first Wake on Stage, is there any type of themes or like productions that you showcase? Like, how do you choose when things will go or like what orders? Is there any kind of like theme or feeling you want the like setup to bring to the audience?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We tried when I was recruiting talent, the my goal was to really have a diverse demonstration of all the performing arts. So not just all musicians, although we do have a lot of music. We have dance, we have theater, we have, like I said, spoken word with Raleigh City Council person Christina Jones performing an original piece of poetry that she wrote.
Oh, wow.
So really trying to run the gauntlet and showcase as much as possible. Um, we do have this go around. There seems to be a larger percentage of elected officials who are
Ooh.
are part of the show. That really wasn't by design. It just kind of worked out that way, based on people's schedules and talents and availability. But I think that's also really cool. Like I said, I mean,
Mhm.
we know that people who experience and participate in the arts vote at a higher percentage. So of course it makes sense that people with an arts background would also run for office. Um, but we have the Wake County Public School Superintendent taking the stage, performing a monologue from Shakespeare. Um, WRAL weatherman Chris Michaels is going to be drumming. And we've got Wake County Commissioners, Raleigh City Council. The mayor of Fuquay Varina is an incredible jazz trumpeter. I mean, again, we were in dress rehearsal yesterday, and like I knew he could play trumpet, right? He said he was willing to step on this stage. Um, all of us in the audience were just like minds blown at how incredibly gifted he is.
That's so fun because it's like you're saying, there's so many officials and just the people that seeing them be able to showcase their other talents and just show how far and how like impactful art still is on their lives is going to be really, really cool to see. And also, I love that most things like this, like you were saying, it's mostly kind of music or it's like theater, it's like one or the other. So I love that you're meshing all of them together because there is so many different art forms, like besides just the music and so that's going to be really, really awesome. And also probably inspire a lot of people watching to be like, this is something that I could really like doing.
We hope so. And we're really lucky because we're also going to have the capability to live broadcast this through our Facebook channel.
Ooh.
So if you can't be in the audience on April 17th, you can still go find United Arts on Facebook and YouTube and watch the show.
No, that's going to be awesome. Kind of leading up into my next question, how can someone in the community get involved, whether as a performer, volunteer, or audience member? I know you're saying lots of different people come, but is there a certain way that they get involved, or do you guys kind of reach out? Do they reach out to you?
As far as the folks on stage, I did most of the fishing and digging and asking. As far as folks in the audience, unitedarts.org is a great way to get involved with us. We do have volunteer opportunities. You can make a donation that goes a long way to create access to the arts across all of our communities. And yeah, like I said, you can also, log in and watch us online.
Oh, that's awesome. What has been your favorite moment working with Wake on Stage so far?
I think just getting to witness all of this talent, getting to see the joy and the excitement and the spark that it brings, to, take that stage and show off what folks are good at. That really is just such a delight.
Truly, it's probably so amazing for the performers also to be giving a platform where they can showcase their talents and feel truly seen. And so that's really awesome what you guys are doing in that. What excites you the most about the future of Wake on Stage? Do you guys have any kind of big new things planned, or since this is just the first year?
Yeah, year one, we'll kind of see how successful it is as a fundraising tactic.
Mm.
And then, reevaluate and see what we can do moving forward. I'd love to see it grow and grow excitement and, again, raise more money for the arts sector, and more in future years. And, we will see how successful the first one is and then plan from there.
Once again, where can listeners go to learn more or stay updated on events, including a Wake on Stage?
Yeah, unitedarts.org is our website. And our social handle is United Arts Wake on all mediums. Those are probably, and signing up for our e-news. We send a newsletter every other week to kind of keep people up to date on what we're doing and what else is going on across the creative sector in the whole county.
That's awesome. So I know you were saying earlier how before the Wake on Stage, you guys would have kind of different other events. Are you guys still doing any of those this year, or is it kind of since you're putting it all into one for Wake on Stage?
We also have in the fall, we do a breakfast event, a networking breakfast to kind of kick off the cultural season in the community, where we bring together all the arts organizations, different sponsors, individuals, other local leaders to be in the room and kind of celebrate the arts and kind of figure out what all everyone is doing all year. We also present an award, one to an individual and one to a business or organization that has made a huge impact on the arts and cultural sector across our county. So we do that award presentation at that breakfast. It's called Coffee and Culture, and this year it'll be on September 17th at Dix Park.
And what do you think the best way to support Wake on Stage as well as just the local art scenes in your community? What do you think is kind of the best way for listeners to do that?
Yeah, I mean, make it if you can make a donation, if you have that capability, that I do not know a sector that can stretch a dollar further than the arts sector.
Mhm.
So you can definitely donate through United Arts, or if there is a specific arts organization that you're particularly passionate about, straight to them. And buy a ticket. Go out and see events, be in the audience, or go check out an exhibit or take a class. Those are really great ways to support the arts community and make sure that we are stable and sturdy and sustainable and really getting the word out there that Wake County is an arts community, that the arts live here.
That's amazing. Before we end our chat, is there anything else that you'd like to say or just for listeners to hear?
I just encourage people to get involved. The more we have folks involved, the more our art sector grows and the more art beauty we have, joy, excitement, learning opportunities. I think the arts, like I said, really, really cross all sectors and impact all people. So I just encourage everyone to get involved.
Because, yeah, art is such an important part of our lives. It brings so many people together. It's like you're saying, it's connected to so many different things. And so that's really awesome what you guys are doing to help showcase this as well as support these artists themselves. Well, I just want to say thank you again for coming on and talking about Wake on Stage and United Arts because so cool, so awesome.